With the releases of Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2, the new DC universe is off to a very promising start, but where do we go from here? In this video, I'll be listing off every upcoming DCU project from movies to television, from live action to animation, detailing everything we know about each one and how close they are to release. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and become a member of this channel in the Noble tier or above for early access to videos, and in the King tier for a special shout out. Thanks to these members for the extra support. So let's start with all the projects that have been officially greenlit, of which there are officially 5 DCU projects. Still in 2025, Krypto Saves the Day are 2D animated shorts released on HBO Max and YouTube that follow the misadventures of Krypto the Superdog in a heightened cartoon world set in the year prior to Superman, or maybe not, it doesn't really matter. Episode 1, titled School Bus Scuffle, has already been released, and the following 3 episodes will be released seasonally going forward. Episode 1 was the summer episode, Halloween Havoc is autumn, Package Pandemonium is in the winter, and Coastal Catastrophe is in the spring. With the releases being seasonally, the final episode will be released not too long before Krypto's next appearance in Supergirl. These shorts are around 5 minutes-ish long, likely all written and directed by episode 1's writer-director Ryan Kramer, and at least episodes 1 and 4 will feature an appearance from Superman. Lanterns will begin airing its first of 8 episodes on HBO. Described as very grounded, Lanterns is a live-action show that takes inspiration from True Detective, being a dark, R-rated buddy cop detective thriller about a murder in a small town, just with a cosmic Green Lantern-based sci-fi twist. Showrun by Chris Mundy, Lanterns was written by him as well as other prolific writers like Tom King and Damon Lindelof and a bunch of others. Aaron Pierre plays Jon Stewart, who was described as the central character of the story, while Kyle Chandler plays a veteran Hal Jordan verging on retirement and the deuteragonist of the story. This version of Hal is far older than he ever is in anything, so while we are getting a conventional Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan is definitely not that. The two will be investigating a high-profile murder in a small town in Nebraska called Sheriff County. This murder will not only have a cosmic connection, but also connect somehow to the overarching story that is being told in the DCU's first chapter. Nathan Fillion will also reprise his role as Guy Gardner, this time in a far darker and more mature setting, apparently dropping more F-bombs than Nathan Fillion has dropped in his entire career put together. Sinestro is appearing, played by Ulrich Thompson, and aside from that, all the other confirmed characters are seemingly original characters, mostly residents of this small town, love interests for Hal and John, John's parents, and characters with vague descriptions, who might just end up being fake names to cover up some comic book characters. One character in particular, Anton, sounds exactly like Atrocitus. Lanterns will attempt to revive the Green Lantern franchise in prestige television form after the Green Lantern movie from 2011 killed it for over a decade. Let's hope it works. While Lanterns will be about typically cosmic-based heroes grounded to Earth, Supergirl will be exploring the cosmos, releasing theatrically on June 26, 2026. Supergirl, previously with the subtitle Woman of Tomorrow, is a PG-13 live-action movie based on the story it was originally named for. Directly set up by Superman, where Kara made her debut and Clark just mentioned the plot of this movie, Kara is depressed and jaded from losing her planet, and instead of becoming a hero like her cousin, she goes to Red Sun planets to get drunk. In the comics, she goes one time with Krypto and ends up getting involved in a girl named Ruthie's quest for vengeance against the man who murdered her father, when that same man, Krem of the Yellow Hills, injures Krypto. They subsequently go on a trek across the cosmos from planet to planet in search of Krem, while Kara teaches the girl about the sanctity of life and the failings of revenge along the way. Written by Anna Noguera and directed by Craig Gillespie, Supergirl stars Millie Alcock, reprising her role from her cameo in Superman as Kara Zor-El, with a slightly upgraded suit ripped right out of the Woman of Tomorrow comic, but with the DCU Super logo. The secondary main character and also narrator of the original comic, Ruthie Knoll, is played by Eve Ridley. Krem, the main villain, is played by Matthias Schoenhartz, and adding at least one DC character to the story who was not in the original, Jason Momoa plays the DC character he was born to play, Lobo. Kara's parents Zor-El and Allura Inze will appear as well, as the original story recounted Kara's origin, and this movie will be doing the same. Supergirl and Lanterns filmed around the same time and have a very easy connection. Supergirl is in space, the domain of the Green Lanterns. Like with Superman and Peacemaker, I am sure there will be characters crossing over between the two. I am sure we'll see a Green Lantern in Supergirl, because why not? Delving further into a completely different tone and genre, Clayface will be an R-rated R-rated body horror tragedy horror movie that focuses on Matt Hagen but gives him Basil Karlo's origin story, played by Tom Rhys Harries. Hagen is a handsome actor from Gotham who moves to LA to launch a film career, but after being left disfigured in an attack, injects himself with a substance that morphs his body into Clayface. There are many rumors regarding this movie's characters, whether or not Batman will appear, whether or not the Clayface from Creature Commandos is the same Clayface as this one, or maybe that one is Basil Karlo, but for now there are no known details. This probably sounds like a weird inclusion in the DCU lineup, especially one this early, but that's because Clayface was not planned by James Gunn. Instead, it was a creative-led project by writer Mike Flanagan, and apparently it was such a great idea and such a great script that it was greenlit. Clayface will be directed by James Watkins, have a $40 million budget, and release on September 11th, 2026. Maybe a bit of an inappropriate date for a movie described as a tragedy. Dynamic Duo is a sixth project that is greenlit, but we aren't sure if it's in the DCU or not. It's a weird case since James Gunn has mentioned that he would like for it to take place in the DCU, but he's not sure if it fits the canon. More recently, it was mentioned in an article called What's Next for DC Studios by DC, which mentioned only DCU projects, not including the Batman Part 2 or a bunch of other animated series that have been announced. Despite that, I decided to include it. Dynamic Duo will be a puppet animated theatrically released movie coming out on June 30th, 2028, which follows both Dick Grayson and Jason Todd as Robins as their paths diverge and they grow into very different heroes, namely Nightwing and Red Hood. Written by Matthew Aldrich, directed by Arthur Mintz, and animated by Swaybox Studios, Dynamic Duo will likely be a PG movie and likely be DC's answer to the Spider-Verse movies, in that they will be utilizing a completely new animation style in a movie about their biggest IP, Batman, but not focusing on the face of that IP, like how they used Miles Morales, not Peter Parker. It'll be Dick Grayson and Jason Todd rather than Batman. Releasing a decade after the original Spider-Verse, it's about time. Creature Commandos Season 2 has been officially greenlit at DC Studios before scripts were written. This is because, according to Gunn, the script rule doesn't apply to second and so on seasons. We could assume Season 2 will see the returns of every remaining and new member of the team, including their voice actors, of Argus, and of the animation studio, but also we've learned that James Gunn is not going to be writing Season 2. It'll instead have a writer's room, like a regular TV show. Creature Commandos Season 2 is the only officially confirmed greenlit project without a release date, but I'm going to be guessing 2026, maybe late 2026, is when it will release. Finally is a project that we don't know for a fact is greenlit, but it's being written and directed by James Gunn, and he said that it's close to production, so I think we could assume that it is. That project is the next Superman movie. As of right now, there's a movie actively written by James Gunn that is meant to be the next installment in what is being called the Superman Saga, or the Super Family series. Referred to as Not Superman 2 and Not World's Finest or Batman v Superman, the movie is sure to follow up on both Superman and Supergirl and be a big tentpole movie in the DCU. James Gunn has apparently completed the first treatment for the script in just insanely quick manner and wants to start production soon. We might get a Superman sequel in 2027 already. From here, things get a little murkier as there's a long list of projects in development that haven't been greenlit as far as we know. From there, I'm gonna go based on how recently we got an update on certain projects, and so we start with Sergeant Rock, which was very close to being made. The writer Justin Kuritzkes wrote a script, director Luca Guadagnino was on board, and casting was underway. The movie was shut down, however, and delayed, because apparently the script wasn't good enough. Specifically, James Gunn hinted that it was due to the movie having a weak third act. The live-action, likely R-rated, theatrically released movie was seemingly going to come out in 2026, but now will most likely be delayed to at least the following year, and Luca Guadagnino is off the project. Before it was shut down, they had apparently cast Colin Farrell, who plays the Penguin, as Sergeant Rock, and both David Johnson and Mike Faist in unknown roles, but likely as other members of Easy Company. The story focused on Rock and Easy Company going on a mission to retrieve the divinely powered Spear of Destiny before the Nazis could get their hands on it. Based on this team's appearance in Creature Commandos, I'd like to believe that G.I. Robot was in the movie, but that might not have fit the director's vibe. Maybe the revamped script will include him. I think it would be a huge missed opportunity if it didn't. The newest addition to this list also seems to be moving pretty quickly. Wonder Woman is getting her own movie, considered a priority for the studio, such a priority that they moved a writer from another movie to this one. Anna Nogueira, who wrote Supergirl and wrote it very quickly, was writing a Teen Titans movie, which was then put on hold as Wonder Woman was given larger priority. That said, James Gunn also said that she's been on Wonder Woman for a good while, so she might even complete complete the script this year. Between Supergirl, Teen Titans, and Wonder Woman, Anna has gotta be the most prolific writer at DC Studios, behind James Gunn himself. Gunn has mentioned that we'll be getting a take on Wonder Woman that is entirely different from what we got before. What this no doubt means is that while Gal Gadot's Diana is based on the New 52, Daughter of Zeus, Sword and Shield warrior version, this new Diana, who we saw in a vision in Creature Commandos wearing the leotard suit, will be born of clay, an ambassador of peace wielding primarily the lasso of truth, again in the leotard. And if the script is completed fast enough, which it could be, Wonder Woman might be released in 2027, which would be 10 years after the first one. News on Booster Gold was quiet for a while, but now finally it's been confirmed that David Jenkins is writing a pilot episode that, if picked up for series, he'll be the showrunner of. Booster Gold is meant to be an outright comedy live-action series on HBO Max focusing on Mike Carter, a disgraced former football star from the future who travels back in time to pose as a superhero using basic future technology alongside his sidekick, a robot named Skeets. As Booster Gold, Mike is a superhero with imposter syndrome. Waller is meant to be an adult live-action show on HBO Max, showrun and written by Crystal Henry and Jeremy Carver, which focuses on Viola Davis's Amanda Waller as she deals with the aftermaths of the events of all her previous appearances in the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos. It was originally going to be a sort of Peacemaker season 1.5, being the bridge between the two seasons, just with a completely different focus and far more serious tone. However, Waller was affected greatly by the writer's strikes, and the scripts for Peacemaker season 2 turned around quicker, so now Peacemaker season 2 is coming out before Waller is even greenlit. So now Waller is meant to follow up on Peacemaker season 2, maybe even Creature Commandos, while including a few of the Peacemaker regulars like Johnny Economos, Rick Flag Sr., and Waller's daughter Leota Adebayo. Very recently, James Gunn mentioned Waller as a project that is moving a bit slower, but did talk about it in a way that seems like he's excited about it and maybe it's close to being greenlit. I'm gonna guess it is close to being greenlit. It's gonna release maybe in late 2026, maybe early 2027. Then there are a few projects we've gotten minimal recent information about, like Teen Titans, which was also written by Anu Nogueira, but the writing process was paused in favor of Wonder Woman. Because of this, the Teen Titans will absolutely release after Wonder Woman, so I'm guessing 2028, 2029 at the earliest. Damian Wayne is meant to be the Robin of The Brave and the Bold, so either this is meant to be a direct follow-up to include Damian, or maybe Tim Drake or Dick Grayson will be the Robin. Again, I'm predicting 2028 or 2029. Batman the Brave and the Bold is in a very weird place because of the whole situation with the Batman movies. As of now, they're remaining separate, and Gunn seems to still be adamant about that. Regardless, one franchise will definitely affect the other. The Batman Part 2 releases in 2027, meaning The Brave and the Bold won't be releasing until 2028 at the earliest, considering Gunn has said they won't release two Batman movies in the same year. I doubt it does, but if Dynamic Duo counts, then The Brave and the Bold would have to be in 2029 at the earliest. The Brave and the Bold will feature Batman learning that he has a son with Talia al Ghul named Damian Wayne, who then becomes the newest Robin. The rest of the Bat family will already exist in this fantastical take on Batman, who has been around for a good while. This movie is based on the comic Batman and Son, which already does have a movie based on it called Son of Batman, but also will take inspiration from a lot of the rest of Grant Morrison's run on Batman. We saw Batman and Robin in Creature Commandos, we might again in Clayface, but if we don't, Brave and the Bold will likely be their actual full debut. The script is being written right now by an unknown writer. There is technically a director on board, that being Andy Muschietti. They just seem to be focusing on the Batman Part 2 for now because James Gunn is pretty much only talking about that and Matt Reeves at this point. He has not mentioned Andy Muschietti in a very long time. Swamp Thing was announced right at the start and quickly got an announced writer and director in James Mangold, which made it feel like it was going to be one of the first movies, but development apparently halted completely. James Mangold, according to Gunn, was busy with other movies, but they've now reopened talks. Swamp Thing is meant to be an R-rated, dark, gothic horror movie depicting Alec Holland's transformation into the Swamp Thing and his mysterious origins. I'm gonna guess Swamp Thing will release in 2028. There's a Blue Beetle HBO Max animated series in development, showrun by Miguel Puga and head written by Kristen Martinez. It'll follow up on the loose canon events of the Blue Beetle movie, but tell a completely new story with Zola Mariduena returning to voice Jaime Reyes. I think the story is sure to include the Reach while introducing Ted Kord, and I think the show will be family friendly because why wouldn't it be? Maybe it could cross over with Booster Gold, considering Booster's iconic friendship with Ted Kord. I'm guessing Blue Beetle has been quietly greenlit and is not only being written but also animated and will release in 2026. Next up is Paradise Lost. It's meant to be a Game of Thrones style adult political drama about the scheming and power struggles on the all-female island of Themyscira. Set prior to the birth of Diana, Hippolyta will likely be the protagonist, and Ishalatra's Circe could appear, and the Greek god pantheon will likely be explored at least a bit. This show was announced 2 years before the Wonder Woman movie that it's meant to connect to, but it seems like the Wonder Woman movie will probably come out first, as the only updates we've gotten regarding this series is that it is still in development and the writing has been slow. I'm gonna guess Paradise Lost Season 1 will release in 2028. The Authority actually does have a recent update, but it's in its own category because this is a negative update. The Authority was proposed to be a R-rated movie about the Wildstorm anti-hero world government toppling team, a team that includes the engineer who appeared in Superman. Gunn has mentioned now that the writing process for this movie has not been very fruitful, and the writer of the movie has moved on to another project. There's also a video about him mentioning all the upcoming projects, and when the Authority was brought up, he seemed to suggest that it's actually not happening, at least for now. To me, the Authority movie never made any sense anyway. To make an R-rated movie about an unknown group of characters who are so edgy never really appealed to me, so I'm gonna guess that the Authority will actually never be released and instead be integrated into a movie like Superman and the Authority or something like that. There are then 2 projects in development that we don't know whether or not they'll be set in the DCU or not, and they don't have a specific release date. There's a Deathstroke and Bane focused movie in development written by Matthew Orton. There was a recent rumor that the script was completed and submitted recently. That does sound like something that James Gunn would debunk, but honestly, we just don't have any other recent updates to go off of. This movie hasn't been confirmed to be a part of the DCU, but I think for live action movies not specifically in the Batverse, we can assume that they are in the DCU. Unless this movie is cancelled, I'm gonna guess a 2029 release. Mr. Miracle is an adult animated series based on the Tom King miniseries of the same name and showrun by Tom King himself, focusing on Scott Free as a famous escape artist whose perfect married life on Earth is interrupted by a war between Apocalypse and New Genesis, which, as the son of Highfather and the adopted son of Darkseid, he becomes the center of. Darkseid has also apparently gotten his hands on the anti-life equation. The original comic had epic proportions and questionable canonicity. It's unconfirmed that this is in the DCU, but I think for animated series, it's more likely that it isn't, since almost all of them aren't. Other little details we know about the future of the DCU include that it's around an 8 to 10 year plan. There is a Huntress movie rumored to be in development that would be a Korean language film, and James Gunn has directly mentioned the Huntress as a character he intends to adapt. There is a Jimmy Olsen series rumored to be in development that is meant to be a crime anthology that also introduces Gorilla Grodd. Zach Kreger wrote a movie about a henchman in Gotham City somehow managing to incapacitate or even seemingly kill Batman, similar to the episode of Batman the Animated Series called The Man Who Killed Batman. The movie would feature Batman and also Joker and Harley Quinn, amongst probably others. He plans on pitching it to DC Studios, so it's certainly a possibility, especially since Weapons, the movie that's currently in theaters, is doing really well. But it's included here in the video because as of right now, it has nothing to do with DC Studios, it's just one guy who's going to pitch it. The Flash and Aquaman won't be appearing for at least 2 years, but eventually will. Gunn said he wants to bring Idris Elba as Bloodsport back. Gunn has practically confirmed plans for the likes of Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, Vixen, Cassandra Cain, and Nubia. As for the rest of DC Studios' productions, they're all confirmed not DCU, otherwise known as Elseworlds. This includes ongoing shows like Teen Titans Go, Harley Quinn and Kite Man Hell Yeah, Batwheels, My Adventures with Superman, and Batman Caped Crusaders, and upcoming projects like Aztec Batman Clash of the Empires releasing in 2025 on HBO Max, a spin-off show of Merry Little Batman called Bat Fam releasing in 2025 on Prime Video, The Batman Part 2 in October 2027, a Jurassic League animated movie, My Adventures with Green Lantern, a teenage Jessica Cruz focused series set in the world of My Adventures with Superman, DC Superpowers, an animated kids show about a few random heroes, and Starfire, an animated series about the adventures of Starfire on her way to Earth. So these are the Elseworlds projects. These are the projects we don't know if they're Elseworlds or not, and these are the official DCU projects. Thanks so much for watching.